I am Natalie. In my work as a healer, therapist, and in this podcast, I consult the spirits, guides, and counselors. I have been working this way for over 13 years, and this connection has existed from the day I entered this world. In this podcast, In the Heart of Being, a spiritual journey, the spirits, guides, and counselors connect me to the layers of being, dimensions, and the library of knowledge, where we connect the spirit with the body, which I love to share with you all. Will you join us in our quest, weaving the unknown into the known? So welcome. Today, me and Anouk are going to talk about growing old. She really wanted to talk about growing old.
It was my birthday yesterday.
Yeah, and because she said, what was it? What was the question all in the beginning? You asked me about getting older. You remember? And I told you, you said something like what to do with when you, or how to deal with growing older, something like that. And I said, don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, that's going to be a really short podcast. But actually, it is true. Because in a way we evolve, but evolve is not the same as growing older. So when we talk about growing older, we look at our body and we see a change. Huh? But sometimes you meet someone that is in their 80s and they have a spirit of a 41. And you are surprised. You see like they got gray hair and stuff like that. But still, if they would dye their hair, you would think they would be like 40.
But in a way, we do consider someone who is 80 but looks like 40 as a positive thing. So in that sense, we label this vividness as something positive. And in a way, I think it's also nice that getting older makes you wiser. So
yeah, but we believe, and this is being taught, we believe that our body needs to degenerate when we get older. So in a way, our functions become less and less. But is it true? So I did read that book I told you about it. And it was about letting go. And in this book, someone told the story that a person had a lot of disease and started surrendering all the pain and sorrow and stuff like that. It was a book of David Hawkins. And he got rid of all the diseases. It's a difficult thing to say. Not a difficult thing, but most people would think something of it. And then someone asked him, but you still wear glasses. And he said, oh, this is interesting because I thought this was something anatomical I could not change. Even he thought that, you know. And he was very evolved consciously, so that's why I say that. And then he did an experiment. And from that moment on, he didn't wear glasses anymore. And I always like a good experiment. So I thought, okay, I'm growing older. I have glasses. Let me see if I can do the same. So I stopped wearing glasses because I needed them to read. And the funniest thing is that I noticed that in the beginning you don't see anything. It's like blurry mess. But I felt confident. I said, yeah, after a while I will start to see. You just in a way need to refocus. And then one day I needed to use something and the letters were so small that even with glasses I could not have seen it. But I waited and it changed. And the thing he says, and more people say that, is reading we don't do with our eyes. And then you told me about that.
Yeah, on Netflix. Wes Anderson story. I think from Roald Dahl, the story.
Do you know the title?
We'll put it in the show notes.
Mr. Sugar something, eh? In this short movie, there was this man that could see without eyes. I'm not going to say anything more because if you want to see this. And then I thought, oh, this is going to be my next experiment. Because we are being taught that growing older, we can, our limbs get stiff, we can see less. But so what we believe for most of the times we will become. And of course, we have illnesses and stuff like that. But what I've seen over the years with people that come to my practice, and they go to the medical doctors and to the hospitals, not only this, but they also do that. But it's most of the times what they believe has the biggest impact. And even physicians tell me this.
Yeah, placebo is a really big effect.
It's a really big effect.
Yes.
If they believe that it will work for them, then for 80 or 90% or even more, it will work. So we are capable of so much more. And that's why I said you don't need to pay attention to growing older. You just connect to your aliveness every day.
I think that's also what you mentioned in our previous podcast. That if you don't let yourself be touched by life or what vibrates within you, then you die, right?
Yeah.
So you need the vitality. But I'm also touched by the English saying of growing older.
Yeah.
Because growing is something it has a positive connotation.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Netherlands, we don't have that expression.
No, we're
older.
just, those people are old.
We just degrade.
You are old. You belong to the elderly.
Exactly.
So what? I am 50. How do I belong to the elderly?
So I'm a scientist actually in the care for older people because we're not allowed anymore in English to say elderly.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's almost like a banned word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But growing older isn't.
Growing older. Yeah, growing older is what you said, has also a positive thing.
Yes.
And even that our body maybe can function a little bit functions a little bit different than when we are younger, doesn't mean that we are stuck. And you had that other documentary on Netflix of the blue zones.
Yes.
And what I saw, and later on you told me this is what I also found, is that being part of a community and experiencing joy in life, this is what makes people. And there was this woman, I think it was 103 or something, and she was laughing and enjoying life, and all those elderly that still had purpose. So
older people, not elderly. Yeah?
Oh yeah,
just kidding.
Older people.
Well, you also said in the previous podcast that laughter, right? You can immediately that laughter is so nourishing for your whole system.
Well, the thing they show me is when we laugh, it's like the little cells get all smileys. This is how it feels like in the body.
Yeah,
it's like bubbly. And when you're pregnant and the child is in the womb, then when you laugh, then it makes like these little jumps, you know, because of the laughing in the water. It's like, little bumps in the water.
No.
Yeah. So, but growing older with growing older, we get wiser, most, not all, and you understand the world much better. But the other day I was looking at a picture of myself when I was 15 years younger or something. Yeah, something like that. And then I picked up something of that time, because this is what we forget when we grow older, this aliveness. So when I looked at myself, at that picture of myself, I was in Buenos Aires, and I knew that I was not happy inside, but I believed in possibilities and that good would come my way. I had a different belief set than I had the last couple of years. But by just seeing it, you take it back because it's not gone. You just went on a different path. And when you grow older, it's sometimes very good to look over your shoulder to see where you have come from. Some things you want to leave there, but others, you can reawaken them. So
other sides of yourself, you mean,
other
right?
sides of yourself. And with that, you bring back parts of you that will keep that out of your door. Wow. That's a very...
so nice. You always laugh a little bit before you share the insight.
Yeah. Sometimes I also even surprised. You want me to say this?
Yeah.
It sounds a bit harsh, but what it means is that you prolong your life.
So can you repeat it again? What the insight was that you were getting?
So when you take those parts back into your life, the ones that light you up, for example, you keep that out of the door.
And what is that you keep out of the door?
The end of life.
I thought that like this, that.
No. That with the being deceased bodies, things like that. And there was a perceived time when you decided, when this happens, I'm going to leave. But most of the time, it has not to do with a certain age. It has to do when and how the situation comes into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? This is what it has to do with when and how the situation comes into your life.
I really like what you were saying, and I recognize it that also, even though we're not old yet, when I was in the beginning of my 20s, you saw life with many possibilities, and feeling possibilities opens you up, it gives you energy. And indeed, the older you get, the more restricted your life feels, like you've chosen a path and that's it. And actually, that's not true. You're still as free as that you were back then. Of course, in life you might have like a mortgage and kids, and in that sense more responsibilities, but you shouldn't let yourself be too restricted by it. It's nice
and
to
the
feel
things
the openness.
that truly light you up are small things.
Mm-hmm.
So I have someone I know, and she has a certain disease, and she was an artist, but she cannot do that anymore because she cannot stand that long anymore. And she started writing poems. And she found out this is also art. And she's coming back to life again. Sometimes, like what you said, you have children, you have a mortgage, you have all those things, you have a job. Maybe you cannot do it at the large expense you did it when you were younger, but you still can in smaller portions.
Well, and actually, I completely relate that the vitality is in small things. It doesn't matter if you have kids or mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
The vitality and the openness is not on bigger level.
No. And this is different when you're young, because then it needs to be big, beautiful, and meaningful and stuff like that. And everyone needs to see it because you did reach that. But when you are growing older and older, you realize that you can enjoy all those small things, and they make you feel the world.
And what I also enjoy about growing older or being older is that there is a deepening. I know more of myself in a way, so I can also share in a deeper level or more, and I can also with friendships, I can love in a deeper way because there's just a deeper layer to it. That's something
Well, the thing is, when we grow older, we become in a way less selfish. So when we are younger, the world evolves around us. Huh? And for now, that's the way it needs to be. Because you need to experience, you need to find out, you need to see the world, you need to understand that not everyone is the same as you. So you get out there, and therefore you need to get out there. And when you grow older, life becomes a little bit more inwards, actually. And you start to understand who you are, where you are in this world, and what you bring to the world, actually. Yes. And this is what you can share with others.
That, for me, feels like a deepening in a way. You know yourself more, being less selfish.
Yeah. But this, I now call it selfishness, but you could see it like exploration.
Yeah, it's more external versus internal focus in a way.
And sometimes people get totally lost in the outside world. That's why I call it a little bit selfish. But after a while, they find out it's not fulfilling anymore. And then slowly the worlds become smaller and smaller, and they realize they don't have to go far to find gold.
Nicely said.
Yeah. Because the gold is inside of us, and in all the small things, in the smile someone grants you when you walk on the street. Yeah. Of the child playing. You see that sometimes with children, they get a present, and they get caught up in the wrapping, for example. Not in the present, but the wrapping. So you give them something big, but they like the package.
Yes.
And the package is love, in a way.
It was also funny. It reminds me of an anecdote that my mother and sister and her kids went to the Efteling, which is like a massive theme park with many things to explore. But we entered the park and there was this little playground, which is the swing and a slide. And they had the best time just in the playground. That's everywhere. You can go to a playground around the corner.
Yeah.
And that's what they enjoyed most.
So, and this is with growing older and with, how do you say that? Staying for a long time on this world. Simplicity is the one that will help you with that. So finding out what truly touches you makes you want to stay. And it is not that you work for staying here, but knowing what you truly like just adds years.
And it makes the ride more enjoyable.
Well, it all has to do with that we are here. And when we are here, we enjoy the world. Even if all other things happen. So growing old is just a concept. So because now I get stuck in the words, it's just a concept, growing old. I should not say that to you because it's your subject, but in a way, if we pay less attention to growing old and start living, then we will grow old. Before we know it, we will be 80. I was with a friend who went to the Hortus Botanicus, the garden in Amsterdam. And then we were sitting in front of each other, and then two people came inside. Old people. I'm not allowed to say elderly anymore. So old people, a man and a woman, and this man was behind the wheelchair, and the woman was sitting inside. And she said to me, she said, look, when we grow old, she said, we look like that. I said, no, you see it wrongly. And then two other ladies came inside. They were dressed up and enjoying life, laughing. I said, look, this is us in 30 years. So what do you believe? Do you believe that you'll become this woman in the wheelchair that cannot move around anymore? Do you believe that we are going to be those twos laughing about life and still enjoying and taking it all in, not only the nice things, but everything, all of life? Because even hardship will in the end up that we will love life much more than we did before. Without, it would be just flat. We would be just flatliners without
There's
all
more
of us.
to love if you've experienced more.
Because we, in a way, to feel, we need contradiction. And without a contradiction, there's nothing we can... now I get like this research words inside my head. There's nothing you can hold it on to. You cannot compare it with something.
I think sometimes for people it helps to think, sometimes for myself actually, like if I indeed see someone in a wheelchair, or you think like, I should be glad that I can walk, right? So sometimes the contrast and realizing, or when, at a funeral or something, you can also feel really the love and the aliveness because of the contrast in a way.
So you have this other documentary about this young man. He's not alive anymore. But he was handicapped, severely handicapped. Nick Servais, his parents took care of him, but it was really hard because he could not walk, he could not speak, he could not move. The only thing he could move was his head. Besides that, nothing. And then they found out that actually there was still consciousness inside him. There's always consciousness, but he could learn. And then this woman came and taught him to speak in a way with something in his mouth, and then he could tap things. And then they found out. And he said, we thought he was captive in his body, but he said, I can fly around every time I want to. So what do we know? So we can think of someone in a wheelchair. This person cannot walk. But perhaps this person doesn't need it to feel what we need to feel because we have legs.
That's true. Huh? It's also called in science the disability paradox. We think, if I end up in a wheelchair, then life has no purpose anymore. I give up. But actually, when people are there, they can still feel happy and things. So you don't know how things are.
Yeah, and you also have that short movie about this man without arms and legs. Have you ever seen it? Well, the things this man does, you would be surprised. I would not dare to do it. He has 2 children, and he's like this other friend of yours. He likes surfing, but without all those things. And he says the limitations are in your head. Yeah. So when we tell ourselves that we are getting older, we limit ourselves.
And what could be a nice practice to keep an open mind?
This is what someone once told me. Be here now. Be here now. But the practice is, I told one yesterday, because to have this distracting thoughts. And I said, you tell yourself, I am here. I am here. And with saying to yourself, I am here, and I put my hand on my chest bone, I am here. Instantly, every part of you pull back towards yourself.
And the room literally lights up now.
Yeah, I am here. And when you are here, then why would you think about, oh, my knee is hurting, probably it will get worse and I need to go to the doctor? What are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? And of course, disease does exist. Wow. As they say, and it can disappear as quickly as it came. So I have a clients that I did see that way. Yeah. But they had to work for it. But it had to do with their belief system and their environment.
And you said disease can exist, right? It's not you get sick, it's all your own fault.
No. Come.
No.
Why would we say things like that?
Yes.
So we're never helping anyone with it. Even if they smoked 3 packages a day, then why would you say, yeah, you brought it on yourself? It will not help anyone.
No, I agree.
And with the packages of cigarettes, you do not want to know what's inside. That makes people almost addictive from the first moment. But the biggest addiction is their mind. Because when they stop smoking, in 3 weeks, even less, I guess, the body doesn't need it anymore.
True.
But the mind does. Yeah. So the mind is in a way the one that we need to overcome. Is the one that can make us fly on top of the world, but if you don't look out, you just crashed. This is how the mind works. So when you tell yourself, I am here, and you put your hand on your chest bone or how you want to do it, then you overrule the mind. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's grow old together.
Yeah, let's become 120, 180. Sometimes you meet people that are very, very old. They still exist in this world. But most of the times you see them in the East. Because in a way they are still more connected to this part of that growing old is a concept of the mind. Next time, me, the spirits, the guides and the counselors will talk about addictive behavior, of negative thinking and negative behavior. Or perhaps you will talk about hope versus wish. For when we hope in a way for a better future or for whatever we hope for, it always feels there's a little bit of doubt. However, when we wish for a better future or wish for something to change, then we open our heart for the thing that could come into being. And maybe perhaps a whole new topic arises when we start recording again. We will see. In the meantime, you can connect with us on natalienevely.nl and on Instagram, in the heart of being. Thank you for listening. See you next time.